welcome back to my channel. Today I am doing the reading your assumptions tag type video, which I know has been going around quite a lot. I found it really interesting to watch other people's videos that have been doing these kind of things because it gives you a bit of an insight into the person behind the camera, i.e. me, a little bit more, but also it's just quite fun. I basically asked on Instagram stories to send me your assumptions and that I wouldn't be offended and everything. But I was actually quite surprised how nice a lot of you were. Like, there wasn't really too, well, there were a few which we'll get into, but generally you guys were just lovely. So I've screenshotted quite a few, and I'm probably not gonna be able to get through every single one, but as well, some of them are kind of like they cross over with each other. But nevertheless, let's jump in and read your assumptions about me. You come from a well-off family. So this I could go into like a whole other video about, because actually I have sort of grown up with a military background, military lifestyle. My dad was in the military, so if your dad's in the military, the whole family is, because pretty much every 2 to 2.5 years we moved house whilst I was growing up. So both myself and my brother, we went to boarding school, at which I don't know if they still do it, but the military do cover a large amount of the fees for boarding, like for boarding students, because if you can imagine, you're moving every 2.5 years, especially throughout like GCSEs and A-levels and everything. There's a lot of turmoil there with having to make new friends and then having to maybe change curriculums. A lot of military kids go to boarding school for that reason. It's just for the lifestyle really, more than anything, and I was one of those. So I wouldn't say I was from a well-off family, but we were privileged, we had a good lifestyle. The fact that we were allowed to go to a really nice private school and it be paid for, but was certainly not, I don't know, obviously there's a lot more people that are more worse off than my upbringing and my lifestyle. But like I said, I could literally go on and on about a whole military upbringing. Let me know if any of you guys also have military within your family or family friends, and if you also are aware of the military lifestyle, because it's actually very different to any other ordinary upbringing. Like, if you imagine when people say, where are you from, I can't tell them a place where I grew up, because I didn't. I grew up all over the country, I moved abroad, I've lived abroad a couple of times, so let me know if you want a full-on in-depth video about that, because I probably have a lot of stories to tell. You secretly love red and have an explosive personality. So I do actually quite like red and wearing red. I like wearing a red lip in summer, and winter actually, depending on what kind of red, like a more orangey red in summer and a deep red in winter. And I have, like, looking at my wardrobe now, the majority of it is very neutral. It's just my style. I just gravitate towards the neutral tones. I know a lot of people think it's boring, but I personally love neutral tones. I get a lot of inspiration from like Instagram accounts that pretty much are all beige, white and monotone and neutral. So my wardrobe is that, but I do spot a couple of red dresses in there. So of all the colours, I'd say like a pop of red every now and again. Yeah, why not? Explosive personality? I don't think so. I think I'm pretty timid. You are gentle, quiet and softly spoken in the nicest way. I think so. I think I am quite a quiet personality. Well, actually, I don't know. Like, inside, I can be quite shy, but I can put on a front, which I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing. But generally speaking, I've always been that person sort of in the back, watching, listening, and every now and again will input my opinion. Not an assumption, but how tall are you, just for clothing references? I am 5'5". You are gorgeous and I wish I could be your friend. Oh, you are my friend, you're all my friends. You are honest, open, sense of humour, but you seem like you're trying too hard for the gram, which you don't need to. I I enjoy Instagram. It's one of the platforms that I can advertise and like work with brands on, and basically share my inspiration and my style and my outfits. Especially Instagram stories. When that first came out, I was like, oh no, Instagram stories. Oh no, it was Instagram TV that I was like, oh, that's going to take over from YouTube. But I don't think it has. I think it's its own separate thing. And I also thought that about Snapchat, and now I never use Snapchat and I'm only on Instagram stories. So I love Instagram. I don't think I'm trying too hard, but sometimes I do think, and more so this year, I've just thought relax a little bit more. Like, yes, a nice aesthetic and a nice feed is really aesthetically pleasing, but it's not the be all and end all. I love accounts like Naomi Jenness, and I feel like her feed is, there's no real specific filters or themes or regular scheduled uploads. It's just natural, and I love it. So there are a lot of accounts that I do follow and love that the feed isn't like perfect. It's just a lot more natural, which, let me know, do you guys scroll through someone's feed, or do you just scroll through your homepage of which you see lots of other people's? Because how many people actually scroll through a feed? I don't know. Regarding the other things, honest, open and sense of humour, I'd say I'm pretty honest and open and have a pretty good sense of humour. Yeah. Down to earth and kind-hearted. Aww. I'm a people pleaser. So in terms of being kind-hearted, I do like to please others, like gift giving. I am a giver rather than a receiver. I like to give gifts. I like to, I prefer to give gifts than I do to receive them, if that makes sense. So I do think I think I'm kind-hearted, but it sounds big-headed being like, I'm kind-hearted and down to earth. I don't know, it's weird saying that, but I did ask Tom all of these and said to him, asked for his opinion from like an outsider's point of view rather than inside my head, and he actually agreed with everything I said. So, you have an old soul for a young person. 100%. I've always felt like I've got like an inner grandma. Like, literally, I am an OAP trapped in a 27-year-old body. I'm just such a grandma. Like, I love a night in with Netflix and PJs and pampering rather than going out drinking. I used to go out a lot more, like when I was at uni. I think it's more so now that I'm settled in a relationship. I think if I was single, I'd probably go out more. But I just enjoy a night in. And I'm not a big drinker either, but I never have been a big drinker. You want to have children and a dog, but not yet. Yes, I more so would be ready for a dog right now, but I don't know what the near future holds for us, because we've talked previously about potentially moving to Manchester, of which I would go tomorrow, and so would Tom, to be fair, but it's circumstances that are keeping us where we are at the minute in terms of Tom's work. But in the future, near future, whenever it may be, if we downsized to, well, not even downsized, but just moved to like a city centre location or an apartment, I don't know if that would be fair on the dog, because we would want a big dog. But right now, if we were to stay here, having a dog would suit my lifestyle perfectly right now. So I would get one. Children, definitely not broody anytime soon, and who knows for the future. Never say never, but right now I can't see myself with kids. Maybe one day, but like nowhere near within the next couple of years. If it happened, but oh no. That you love the nude tones because of your blonde hair and amazing blue eyes. I do think neutral tones suits dark hair, dark skin, dark eyes as well. But going back to Instagram inspo accounts, the ones that I really love are predominantly the neutral feeds. I'd say most of them are blondes. I do follow a lot of blondes and blue eyes and like fair people. That you've had lip fillers. I have. I've done a whole video about it before, and I've had it twice in my lifetime. I think I would get it done again. Let me just check my lipstick. Speaking of lips, I would do it again, but I think lip filler in me lasts quite a while. Like they say it lasts, I have Juvederm Volift, and it says between 5 to 8 months that it lasts. Oh, well, it's been way over that for me. It's been well over a year. That you are from a rich family. Again, touching on this earlier, I wouldn't say we were rich. You know, we had a good upbringing, a good privileged lifestyle. However, I wouldn't say we were rich. But that's so like, how do you say if someone's rich or not? I don't know. That you're happy? Yes, I am happy. That you are a positive person. I don't think I am. I try to be more than I am, but I actually think I'm a little bit of a pessimist and an anxious warrior type person, that I always kind of like see what could go wrong, or like I think of the worst possible outcome, which I need to just chill out more and start thinking more positively. I try to like surround myself with positive people, so why wouldn't I want to be positive myself? And then someone also says you struggle with anxiety, which yeah, I have touched upon that before. I first sort of got diagnosed with anxiety and mild depression when I was actually doing my GCSEs, and it was at a time when I was at school in England, at boarding school, but I lived in, or my parents and brother lived in America with the military, with work. So they were stationed there for a 2.5 year period, of which, because I was doing my GCSEs, I could have gone with my parents, but I chose to stay at school. That's what I wanted. All my friends were there, blah, blah, blah. So I just flew back and forwards every holiday, like half terms and Easters and Christmas and everything. So that's when it first kind of kicked in, my anxiety. But I remember it even before then. I remember when I was really young, and one of the like symptoms of my anxiety or whatever is loss of appetite. So if I'm feeling particularly anxious or going through a bit of a period of anxiety, or sometimes even just a half an hour spell of like going all hot and flustered and a bit anxious, I lose my appetite. And so when I was doing my GCSEs, I was also in a relationship that was my only other relationship besides Tom, and you know, I was young and I wasn't really sure if it's what I wanted. So I think I was just going through a bit of a rocky period, and I was so young, and I had a lot of life situational things that caused me to feel anxious and anxiety. I didn't know what it was at the time though. I went to doctors, I was like, why am I not eating? Why have I lost my appetite? I don't want to go out, I don't want to do anything. That's when they first sort of diagnosed me with suffering with anxiety and depression, but I have never been medicated for it. So I know a lot of people that have, or I know a handful of people that actually have taken an anxiety medication, but I've always tried to avoid that, and even doctors have said that I should avoid it if I can. So I just realised that it's a mental battle, and what's the worst that can happen, and if I'm feeling a little bit anxious for whatever reason, I just have to tell myself this will pass. And yeah, that's my little anxiety story. That you're a kind person and don't take kindly to people being nasty. So in this industry, you're kind of putting yourself out there for a bit of negativity. You're not going to please everyone. You do get the odd comment here and there, and more often than not, I do just ignore it, and I don't let it affect me. Obviously, you know, everyone's human. When you read like a negative comment, you're like, what? Why? What gives that impression? Or what? Maybe I should do this less or do this more. Or I'm quite good at blocking that out and ignoring it. I don't even block accounts. Like if it was really negative or it was detrimental to other people who comment on my videos, then I would block them. Because I know I've had the odd comment where someone will comment on one of your guys' comments, and I don't agree with that. I'm like, leave them alone, back off. And I love it when, if someone does say something negative, that you guys step in and comment and say, you know, like back me up. I love that. But yeah, I don't really let it get to me that much. And I can't comprehend why people do that. I think it's due to their own insecurities. So in a way, I feel a bit more sorry for them rather than let it affect me. So that you're very picky when it comes to friends. It's hard for others to gain your trust and easy to ruin it. I actually say the opposite. I let people in too easily, and then I think it boils down to my military style upbringing, having to constantly make new friends and move here and move there, and having to like kind of fit in with different crowds, even in terms of geographical, like having to move around to different locations where maybe people have slightly different sense of humour, like culture differences. I always try and like people please, and therefore maybe found it hard to like know myself and my true self. But right now I'm at a point in my life, that's what I'm trying to say, where I'm quite comfortable in myself. Me and Tom are ridiculous with each other. We are just so ourselves that we're probably too comfortable around each other. We just be silly, and I don't know, but that's important, I think, in being in a happy relationship, is just being 100% yourself and the other person not judging you for it. But when it still comes to friendships, I struggle a little bit, because what I'll never have is history. So a lot of people from maybe like around here where I live that are friends, and they are friends, they also have their own friends that they've grown up with, that they've known since they were born or they went to school with. Even like obviously Tom has friends that he went to school with, but a lot of the friends that I know now are as a result of being with Tom, and they're his friends. So I do have friends outside of that, like Lucy, one of my best friends from university. I've stayed in touch with her. I have a handful of like 3 girls that I stayed in touch with from school, but they were also all military, so we've kind of stayed in touch and meet up every once in a while. Other than that, I don't really have anyone, so I don't have that friendship group or even one friend that I've had for life. And I do honestly think that is down to my lifestyle and my upbringing, and it is just circumstantial, because even my parents, who, yes, as a family we've always moved around, they still have their base of where they grew up, and yes, they might only have a couple of friends from that original point in time, because you do get more selective the older you get in terms of who you want to spend your time with. Time is so precious anyway, that especially when you're working full time and you're in a relationship, it's hard enough to find time to be with your handful of friends, that why have multiple handfuls of friends, you know? So I would say the opposite. I actually let people in too easily, and then think I'm best friends with them and I'm going to be friends with them for life, and then we just grow apart and we move on to our own things, and in the long run I then end up being friendless. Oh no, I do have some friends, but I hope you can kind of understand what I mean by that. I don't have like lifelong friends that I've got that history with, which is a shame, but there's nothing I can do about it now apart from make new friends. But you wouldn't want to travel for months or up to a year. You'd only prefer to go on holidays. I think so. I was never that person that was like, after school, want to take a gap year and go traveling and experience the world. I was like, no, I want to start earning money, I want to be settled, I want a house, I want a family, well, not even a family, just stability, because I've never had that. Like I said, again, growing up, moving around all different places, I don't really have a base where I grew up, so I'm not like, oh, get me out, let's go traveling. I actually am the opposite and would quite like a stability and a bit of stability and a home. But having said that, I wouldn't be open to traveling more and experiencing more, and it's something that like Tom would have an interest in, and if I'm traveling with him, it is an interest if I'm with him, but I don't really have the desire to go off by myself traveling. I never really had that. I do also feel like, because of moving around a lot and even living abroad, I feel like I'm quite well travelled already, so I don't feel like I've, you know, been brought up in this small village, everyone knows everyone, and I've very rarely ventured out abroad or done any long haul trips. I have done a lot, and I've been very fortunate to experience a lot of different countries and cultures. So because of that, I've never really had that desire to go travelling for a year or however long. But never say never. I would, you know, I would do it. I just don't have that desire to do it. You prefer living in Manchester to any other city? Of all the places I've lived, I've really enjoyed Manchester as a city. I think it's got everything, and I would happily stay in and around the Manchester area for for the rest of my life, or even if we moved away initially to come back here, I would be happy with that. Will you and Tom get married or have kids first? I don't know. I really don't know. He says like, oh, marriage, I don't really see the point in it, and not that broody, but then he has in one sense said that he could see himself having kids before getting married, but then I have said I think I'd quite like to get married first then have kids. But we're neither of us are really in the mindset of being there yet, so who knows. Kinky sex, yay or nay? Nay. You went to private school, yes, I've mentioned that already. You'll never go out without makeup on. Tom would say yes, but I would say no. Like I've gone out with makeup on, but I enjoy makeup too much. I like putting makeup on, even if it is like today fairly natural. I like the process of putting makeup on and going out the house with a face of makeup on. But I have been to like the salon for a facial, or left a salon having had a facial and had no makeup on holiday. I wear very little makeup, well, no makeup during the day. So I do go out without makeup on, but I don't want to. You say what you think and you're upfront with people. Again, back to the people pleasing thing. Maybe I do hold back a little bit when I should just speak my mind a little bit more. You and Tom hardly ever argue. Yeah, I'd say we hardly ever. We bicker, we disagree on a couple of things. Like he's a little bit messy and I like organisation, and so that can let us clash sometimes. But I wouldn't say we have full-blown arguments, because I don't think either of us would settle for it. If you know what I mean, like we would never fight ever, like, or shout or scream at each other. So bicker, yeah, but doesn't every relationship have disagreements? You can't agree with everything the other person says, surely. You could be shy sometimes, yeah, definitely. You include Tom in your vlogs even though he hates it. I'm assuming he doesn't like it. Yeah, he's not a fan. He just doesn't, he's camera shy. He's not a fan of being in front of the camera. It's not that he doesn't like what I do or support what I do. He was the one that encouraged me to do it, but he doesn't like being on himself. So he says he doesn't mind, like in, like obviously the Dubai vlog, if you watch that, being in the background every so often, but in terms of actually being on it and speaking and doing like boyfriend challenges or anything like that, I don't know if I'll ever get to that stage of him doing that. I don't think he would ever do that. And that is pretty much everything. There's a couple more, but they kind of all relate to ones that I've already mentioned. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I know it's a little bit different. I am back into the swing of things with the upload schedule now, at least twice a week, if not 3 videos a week. So stay tuned for more videos. Please subscribe if you haven't already. It means so much to me. And like this video if you want any more tag style videos like this. And I'll see you in my next video, which will be a weekly vlog. So I'll see you then. Bye guys.